to start.
All right. Welcome back here to Graz, Austria.
Yes.
We're about to start here into the next game of the day. Canada versus Great Britain. I'm here with Etienne at the commentating booth.
And this is a for place. It's at the bottom of the table, but nonetheless important for the teams. 13th. So the two teams here will end up 13 and 14. 13th and 14th.
Yep.
And it will be their final match in the competition. And do we have a background sheet here on the teams? I know the captain of Great Britain, because he lives in Sweden, Mark Price, former hockey player, and he's to be the captain of a country you don't live in.
Yeah.
That's tricky. So he's flown.
If you're the best player, it might work out. All right, we're getting into the game here. Great Britain going for the ball and being in possession immediately, moving forward to the Canadian basket and going in immediately. Number 5 for Great Britain, Ben Esbit. Has to move up though. Canada's defense in position properly. Ball still being in possession by Britain. Moving in. Circling the basket, and now the captain, Mark Price, trying to go for initiation here. Ooh, bit of a shot here. Hickey placed underneath the basket, waiting for the ball to reach to the left side, but Canada clearing properly and now going for the counter-attack, but being stopped immediately by the British players. Number 10, Alistair Hickey again.
And these teams have improved during the course of the competition. They're learning and adapting to the strategies and tactics that they've encountered.
Oh, Canada moving for the British basket. Oh, and there's the first score for the Canadians.
White team score by player number 5.
Number 5, Cesar Flores, the captain for the Canadians here. With the first score for Canada, only 1 minute into this game. Well done by the Canadian captain, wrestling himself onto the goalkeeper, but now Britain here on the advance. Ball though popping off.
Cesar Flores is 47 years old and has played since 1991, and this will be his 5th time at a World Championship. So he played 3 times with Colombia and twice with Canada.
Yep. One of the retired Colombian players here for the Canadian squad, so to speak.
Well, emeritus, you could say.
There's a lot of those Colombians emigrating from Colombia to other countries and then starting up underwater rugby there. So spreading underwater rugby across the American continent.
It's not wild yeast, it's Colombian yeast. So. Okay, the UK has the ball. Escobar heading across, trying to break free. His teammate starts from a static position, heads all the way over to the corner, which is good, but Canada is not concerned. They have their defense down in place. And Great Britain goes up. This is good. They haven't rushed into the goal 1 player at a time and lost the ball. They're trying to set something up, but now they do. It was a little bit of...
Possession here back for Canada. Number 18 moving to the other side.
Yes, that's Matteo Naran.
Was it 18 or 81? Oh, now the ball dropping at the side of the basket, and Britain going for the counter-attack. McVeigh here moving forward for Britain.
McVeigh is a
friend of the Canadian defenders, Gabriel Contreras.
McVeigh is a Scot who learned the game in Sweden. He lives on the island of Gotland, where they have some good rugby players. So there are probably some Swedes watching this match too, because they're supporting him.
Back at
The
the Canadian basket, but the ball being locked up by Canadian player. Defense now trying to stabilize, but Great Britain here still going for the ball. Nicholas Harvey here wrestling with the ball carrier. Ashley Mendelson away. Now Canada in possession of the ball again. Cannot pass downwards properly. The ball locked up again on the surface. And now back in possession for Price with the recovery for Great Britain. Oh, but he didn't reach down far enough. And now Canada on defense again.
What do you think of this fetal position when you have the ball and you lock up the ball by raising your legs, your knees up, so that nobody can reach it? Is that good? Is that bad?
Well, if it works and the referees don't call it, it's good.
Call it for what? For killing the game, delay of game? And you just try to explain to the viewers who might see this and wonder, what does that mean? It looks passive, but you don't want to lose the ball. So.
Yeah, it's just a defensive position in general. So having your legs in between the opponent, even though you have the ball, it's just a defensive position, waiting for a player, maybe waiting for the opportunity to pass forward. Canada moving in again, Matteo Narayaho.
Now, the back was not right in position at that point. Yeah.
Nope, Chad, it's just one goal so far for the Canadians. Britain holding on, 6 minutes played, nearly in this game. Canada on the advance, circling the British basket, waiting for the opportunity, drawing the defenders forward, drawing the attackers out. Ooh, the ball just dropping down, but being recovered for Canada.
I don't think there's a lot of benefit to chasing a person far away. You energy and you're not going to get them. So
it depends on the point of the game.
If you're behind, you have to get the ball.
If you're behind by one goal and they're just waiting outside of your basket, you have to go out.
Of course.
Oh, and there's a lot of kind of bit of shoving here at the British basket. You can see Mark Price, the goalkeeper, just laying there casually. Canada put the ball in. Oh, the ball tossed away. Picked up by the defense, but immediately being tackled here by number 14, Oscar De La Guerra. Now Britain trying to move forward, but the Canadian forechecking here already in place. Ooh, well done here to pass the Canadian forechecker. On ball going back to Britain, number 10, Hickey. Alistair Hickey here for the British. Passing forward, number 3, Jerome Lewis. Now Britain moving the ball to the right here in this game. Canada moving out a bit, coming from defense, trying to get a hold onto the ball. Now well on here, a little pass backwards, and now Canada moving again into the British half. And you can see the Canadian goalkeeper holding on to the goal. That's not allowed there.
They're not calling it though.
Not allowed to hold on to the goal in any kind of way, shape or form. You're only allowed to lay on the goal.
The players do draw themselves down to the goal often to get in position.
Yep. And the referees quite often don't see it if the ball is a bit further away from the basket, because they are usually watching out for the gameplay around the ball.
But the worst, of course, is when a player draws himself into the basket by grabbing the basket and pulling on one of the struts.
Yes, that's right, Chet. Those are the placement games for the teams that didn't qualify for any finals and for the crossing games moving upwards. So we're playing here for in the bracket 9 till 14, and this is the placement game for places 13 and 14.
So we've been informed that Team Finland, the women, have made an official protest after their game. They will pay €100 or
Yep,
how much
100
it is?
euros, and if the protest is passing, they will get the money back. But if the protest is being declined, they won't. Now back into the game here, Canada against Britain. Well, then you're moving by Adolfo Gonzalez for the Canadians, but the ball being snatched off by Mark Price, the British goalkeeper. Now locking the ball up on the surface. We see number 9, Hector Eduardo Torres for Britain, and now the ball dropping outwards, ball out of bounds. And possession, last possession was by
White free
Great Britain,
throw.
so the free throw here for Canada. Yep, a lot of lovely cheering. Canadians always making, setting a good mood here in the pool area. Canadian women's team 2 days ago scored their first ever goal as a women's team in an international championship.
That was nice by Great Britain there. They put a squeeze on, and when the ball dropped down, they were ready to snatch it up.
Ollie Holman trying to move forward for Britain. A couple of passes backwards. Moving forward again. Canada forechecking against Nando Lewis here. Hickey again. Being attacked by number 42, Juan David Royas.
Okay.
Now Great Britain on the advance here with number Ryan Collingwood trying to move on to the Canadian basket.
Forcefully.
Trying to screw himself into the defender, but the forechecker here in a good position. Hickey trying to place himself under the basket again.
Now another attack.
Dropping down. Ben Esbit, but locked up by number 14,
No back.
Oscar
He's
Del
got
Guerra. Now he's got the ball back and he's got the opportunity, but clear by Canada, and now moving forward again for the Canadians.
He needed to swim his body over that gap and then put the ball in
A
instead
little
of
bit
trying
of
to
pass backwards, and Jerome Lewis now, Camilo Contreras moving forward for the Canadians. Jerome Lewis on the opponent's team. Oh, now a good attack here. Neck hold onto the British goalkeeper, but cannot move him away. The British goalkeeper, Mark Price, the captain, being quite a heavy guy. Difficult to move a heavy guy, even though you've got a good grip and you're not lying underneath his back.
Okay.
Now in Great Britain on the advance, number 9, Christian Escobar Reyes.
I heard he's a former fin swimmer, and that's why he's fast.
Ooh, now the
The
basket
stolen
stolen
basket.
away, and Lewis with the recovery. Can he move in onto the basket? Doesn't see his player properly, probably laying on the opponent's basket, not trying to move in, but Canada blocking the way. Nesbitt still in the basket. Ooh, yet again stolen by McVeigh. But now being kind of replaced here by the Canadian goalkeeper. Trying to move in, but nobody now on his basket. But a good pass. It would have been a good pass onto the other side, but now the counter attack here for the Canadians. Juan David Royas moving for the British basket, and it looks empty. And yep, there's the counter attack on the empty basket of the British. And now Canada with the comfortable 2-0 lead here, going into the
White team score
last
by play number
minutes
42.
of the first half.
42. And it will be a white timeout.
Timeout here called by Canada. we know it now.
Okay, we're back into the game. Time that
Guys.
has been taken.
Guys.
Okay. Canada now comfortable lead here against Great Britain.
3:20 remaining in the first half. So this is an interesting match for the two teams. They get to find out where they place in the total table.
Yep.
And that gives them their seeding for the next World Championship and developmental goals. It could be very different in 4 years given the level they're at now, but we've seen now with Australia and some other teams that things can change a lot in 4 years. The Canadian clubs mostly, national teams mostly in Montreal, and Pure in London is the biggest club in Britain at the moment.
Most of the British players coming from the Pure Underwater Rugby Club. Also recruiting some British players living in some other countries. It's the first appearance here for Great Britain in an underwater rugby, major underwater rugby tournament. But Britain holding on,
Price is
trying
really
to move on to the Canadian basket. Price being in position. But the British too hesitant to move in immediately. Always take a lot of time if a player is placed underneath the basket to move in. And this hesitation does cost them the ball quite a lot of times. So Canada immediately going for the counterattacks. Gone now with the Royals here. But it's being stopped, and ooh, good recovery for Britain here.
So one of the things, if a player is
Picked up by
sort
Hickey
of
again.
paralyzed at some point and unable to pass, and the viewer sees one of their teammates lying there waiting for the pass, well, you could be sure the opposition has also seen that, so it'll be cut off often.
Wide free throw.
A little bit gray today here in Graz. Warm still, and humid here in the swimming pool. Great Britain getting dragged up to the surface. 2 Canadian players in the scrum and 2 Brits, McVeigh and 37, that's Velaquez. Velaquez is being supported by a player underneath, but now the British players are going beneath the scrum, and now just 2 Canadians. It's moving slowly along. This is a bit sclerotic. And eventually the referees
Sitting down.
call it a, what do they say? Free throw in favor
Blue
of
free
Britain.
throw.
For what reason?
Usually if it's on the side, it's stepping on the stair at the side. Yeah,
There's a ledge all the way around the pool,
Yep.
even on the...
it doesn't matter as soon as the game is going. You're not allowed to stand anywhere on a ledge or a step. You have to swim out of your own power. Otherwise, the referee has to assume that you're so exhausted you have to be taken out of the game. And it's a free throw for the opponent team if you do it just to relax and recover some energy. That's the official ruling. Now Canada, good clear underneath their own basket. Well done, Metal Olivi. And now Canada moving back again onto the British basket, but they cannot get quite through. And now there's the halftime break. Canada versus Great Britain. Canada being 2 goals ahead here in this game. Britain pushing onto the Canadian basket, but not able to execute properly so far. Not really. They had one rather pressing situation when the basket was stolen away from the Canadians for 30 seconds approximately, but they were not able to move the ball towards the basket. But other than that, no pressing situation for the Canadians, and good 2 or 3 situations for the Canadians, and so 2 or 3 good situations, yeah, for the Canadians. And now we're going to advertisements. Now, halftime break here in Great Britain versus Canada. Great Britain, a very young team in underwater rugby. Captain Mark Price only playing underwater rugby for 4 years, but did play underwater hockey and coached underwater hockey before. Might get boring a bit because underwater rugby is more fun than underwater hockey. Everybody knows that. Great Britain. I thought it's fun. Every team had to fill in questionnaires before the World Cup, and Great Britain, when they went in, what are your goals for this World Championship? And they were cocky to say, nah, we're going to get gold. It's kind of nice of them. But their first World Championship here, and so far a good performance by the Great Britons. Canadians as well, quite well developed here over the tournament. Canada, a bit of an older team, a lot of veterans here who formerly played for other nations, and then some Colombian players who emigrated to Canada and opened the underwater rugby scene in some of the Canadian cities, mostly around Montreal. And they were 8th in Cali 2015, but they are just here to improve as best as they can. So we'll see if Canada can pick up the win here against Great Britain. Now 1 minute to go in the halftime, during the halftime break. Not many details given away by the coaches. British coach. Great Britain here still able to recover. We've seen them do it last time when they played Slovakia. They were behind, but then in the end came out ahead 3-2. Difficult though against the Canadians, whose defense is quite a lot more solid. All right, now getting back into the game, second half.
6th player in the water.
Canada in white, Great Britain in blue here. Canada, though, being in the lead. And off we go, second half time. Kralmeyer, Austrian vacation. Playing an underwater rugby tournament is a lot of things. It is fun, but it's most certainly not a vacation. Everybody who played in the World Championship will tell you that. It is exhausting on every level, even if you're the defending team getting scored on a lot. And the sheer physicality of some teams is very intense to play against, because they will not hold back. All right, now being back into the game. Canada being on the defense. Britain moving into the corner with the ball, trying to circle it around the Canadian basket. Now passing to number 8, Nicholas Harvey. Canada moving forward, well done here, trying to get past the forwards by Great Britain. Marco Cardona, but now called by the referee.
Roughing.
It's a white, a blue free throw. Blue free throw.
Now free throw for Great Britain.
It was a hard tackle, and he was trying to escape, so.
Britain still in the corner here, waiting in front of the Canadian basket to maybe get an opportunity to move in.
Yeah, I think it was Price who had it. He wasn't vigilant about the encroaching forecheckers. People have to remember also to the viewers that the view through the mask is limited. Your peripheral vision is not the same as if you were on land.
Yeah, it differs though by the mask you're using. There are two to three types of different masks. One of them giving a better peripheral vision whilst being a little bit more susceptible to damage. The other is a bit more stable, hard plastic, but the vision limited. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Most players, like we see here in this game, are going for the harder version of the mask, being less susceptible. But we see a lot of the top players on the Colombian team, for instance, going for the better view, the peripheral vision, because they want to play and see everything around them. Now, good attack here on the British basket by the Canadians. Ball being tackled away, though, by Great Britain, moving upwards. Britain here with the defense against the Canadians, trying to move forward. Or the pass downwards.
There might have been a bit of shoulder in the basket there, but I think the referee didn't want to disturb the flow of the game, and it wasn't going to help either team really to.
Now, big difference between the teams we see here, Canada, Great Britain, and some of the lower bracket teams and the top tier teams, is that the top tier teams will almost every time try to intercept the pass, and rather than go for the player and attack the player, they will always go for the ball. While a lot of lower bracket teams not really fast enough in the acceleration with their fins to intercept passes properly. So they have to attack the ball carrier and try to wrestle the ball away.
Hickey on the right side, waiting. The ball's not coming, it's taken. So Canada's looking quite certain of winning this game.
By the way, it's not Wolf commentating, it's Thomas commentating on the Bordeaux Rugby Ogre.
Thomas Denk, who played with Vienna in the EuroLeague.
Yep.
And that was 2 seasons?
2 seasons ago, yes.
Yeah.
Was the last time we were in the EuroLeague.
Some people asked why David Kreisig wasn't playing, and he dislocated his shoulder. David Kreisig, a German player.
He was playing yesterday.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Philip. David was hurt.
Oh, David Kreisig.
Yes, the brother.
Yeah, but he was not on the national team squad.
No, but he was trying to
He was
make
trying
it.
to. He was trying to make it.
And
Yeah.
people wondered why he didn't
Yep.
make it along with the other guys from Krefeld.
I mean-
and the answer is, at least in part, that he was injured.
He was injured, but I also think that German national team here yesterday definitely showed how good they are. Oh, nice attack here by the Canadians, but the British basket being covered up just in time.
Good job.
Good job here by Britain. Now blocking the Canadian players away, moving them to the ball. Both teams struggling a bit to have players underneath the surface. A lot of surface scrums here when they try to move forward. Very limited in the passing stations. Oh, now good recovery by Oscar de la Guerra, moving. Oh, good kick here though onto the ball, and popping it out.
Price is a very cool customer. He knows when to take a shot or to make a move.
Now Great Britain being back defending here against Canada. 5 minutes played in the second half.
Backing up, backing up, backing up. Britain with long arms. Who was it? Escobar or Escobar.
Escobar, yes.
So you don't think that Darby Kreisig was a good candidate for the national team?
He is certainly a very strong player, but I think compared to all the other players on the squad, he is not yet experienced and strong enough to compete with them. A lot of veterans on German team, a lot of players who played in the finals. Pretty much everybody on the German national team played in the finals. Bamberg players, Maus players, 3 players from Krefeld. So
you're talking about the end of the season series championship for Germany. And that went to Maus in first place, and then Bamberg.
For the first time in 10 years, Maus did win against Bamberg. Yeah, we're back into the game here. Wrestling on the surface between Great Britain and Canada.
42 in the right place, and he gets the ball. You get the ball if you're underneath the scrum. That's the way it works.
Yep.
Canada had 3 players. It allows them to get out and
Canada in the comfortable position though to be in the lead by 2 points, so no necessity at all to move on to the British basket here in this game. And Britain's got to take a risk here. They have the defender always in place. Canada moving in, swooping in from time to time. But you can see the British forwards here trying desperately to go for the ball. Alistair Hickey here again, but not really able to recover it. And you can see how far they are drawn out into they're basically in the middle of the pool, and defenders are still sitting back. And at this point in the game, where you're 2 points behind, you want to score.
Yes.
You have to take a little more risk. Maybe leave a goalkeeper and a defender behind and have them swoop in at the last second. Another free throw for Britain.
I agree with you. Hickey made a tremendous effort there, so he needed a back to come swimming under in order to harvest that ball that he was trying to get.
The blue free throw and blue timeout.
How is it an issue in Austrian play that getting the backs to come out and forecheck hard?
Not that much actually, no.
People know this principle and they stick to it.
And the free throw was struggling.
It's a mental problem for some club players in order to say that, okay, I'm not just going up and down for air. I have to go and do something at the end of my dive.
I don't know.
Now timeout for Great Britain here in the middle of the second half. Trying to get back some breath, some air, recover a bit.
What were the biggest improvements that occurred in Vienna back when you joined the EuroLeague?
Usually the biggest improvement through those high-level tournaments is that you get mentally used to the speed of the game. And quite often teams physically in shape to compete, but the mental speed and the intensity of the games is so high, and the nervosity of the players is so high that it's a huge problem for the mid-tier teams and the low-tier teams to just adjust to this competitive speed on these high levels, and playing on this level for a couple of times a year. And it's a really good exercise for a lot of players who want to improve on this level, also on the national level. And it's a big problem if your club does not provide a high enough speed throughout the practice times over the week, so you're not getting used to those high intense games where you have to play on 90 to 100% all the time. Because a lot of players mentally not able to create the setting for themselves to be on the hunt all the time and give everything if they are not needed to. Now back into the British half. Oh, and a good move here onto the British basket. Cesar Flores, the captain for
Really
the Canadians, trying to move the ball along, but well cleared here by number 7, Benjamin McVeigh of Britain. Moving forward and now onto the surface again, back into the surface scrum. We can see here the conditioning for both teams being a little bit off. Not a call by the referee. Joking call by the referee, and the call against Canada. Referee making sure that the player is okay, and the game continues. Quite often when games are getting more physical,
Okay. Canada locked up on the side here. 6:21 left in the second half here. So this championship is almost over for these two teams. They'll be in the spectators.
the last 6 minutes here for Great Britain versus Canada. Great Britain here still trying to get into the Canadian half and maybe score once. Maybe they will score twice. They have had some possibilities here in this game. Canada a little bit better on the execution so far. Now moving back in onto the... Oh!
A shot.
What a shot here!
Who was that?
Well done, Jerome Lewis.
Lewis.
Or Nando Lewis, the number 6, the goalkeeper. Might be brothers.
It was just a small hole there, and he saw it.
Yeah, he saw the hole and he punched the ball through. Well done now. Britain being back into the game here, just one score behind.
This is a big change.
That's a big change. The game now being back open, and Britain most certainly not trying to be more offensive, trying to move forward here onto the Canadians. They smell the blood, and you can see they want to go for the ball. They want to go for another one. They want to equalize here. It's the placement games. Yeah, the Britons getting energized now. Canada was very comfortable with the lead and just trying to hold it. Pass downwards Camilo Contreras, but he cannot hold on to the ball properly though. Oh, nice little shuttle pass to the back.
Actually, the British player kicked it and ended up kicking it to the wrong player.
Canadians out of bounds, and the ball should go back to Great Britain.
Okay, the free throw.
Game on here by Britain. Yeah, wow, good goal. That's true on the Rugby Ogre. Father and son, Nando and Jerome Lewis. There we go.
that was holding. But
the father and the son playing in the same national team. We haven't seen that very often. So that's cool for Great Britain here. Now Great Britain here on the prowl against the Canadians. Ooh, a little bit off the blindside here, but the pass to the surface. Escobar, he's most certainly one of the best players on the British squad here. Ooh, and a good chance here to move in the goals and place underneath the goal, stolen away, but Connery moving up a little bit.
There was a little pushing there.
Yeah. While trying to move. Oh, the ball being taken away by the Canadian defender. The attacker not watching out properly. Picked up by Canada again here in this game. But Britain moving for the ball immediately, but now Canadian players being in good position, but the pass not secure enough, and the ball now back in possession for the British here. They have to go for the basket immediately. We say Hickey again. Alistair Hickey for Britain. Yeah, again moving forward. Great Britain. The game now a little bit slow here. Britain needs to take a little bit of a risk 3.5 minutes to go, second half time here. Great Britain against Canada. Canada still in the lead by 2 points, but Britain here on the prowl to go for the equalization against the Canadians. Canada trying to hold on, but now a good chance to move in, swoop in. There's a player underneath the ball, basket, but
He can't get there.
the Canadian defender in place, but a good straightforward pass. Oh, now that was a good attempt, but being caught by the defender. Now the counter attack for the Canadians. Juan David Royas moving for the British basket. There's only one player in between him and the goal. Can the goalkeeper get into position in time? Yes, he can. And the ball now still in possession for Canada, but the goal safely secured by Britain so far.
But you can be sure their hearts are beating after
Yeah.
they rush back.
They had to rush back here to their own goal. We could see Mark Price here exchanging immediately for Britain. Canada here trying to get sneakily into position, placing themselves underneath the basket. Now a good chain of passes could have occurred, but player not aware enough of his teammates being positioned properly. Canada nail-biting empire fight here. Oh, and a good attempt by Canada, but well cleared. There's a holding called by the referee. Now the ball back into possession of Britain.
They needed this. They needed a break
Yeah,
to catch
it's a
their
good
breath.
break here for the British. They can move up to the middle of the field. Free throw.
Timeout.
And a timeout called by Canada. I think it's a good call for both teams here. The timeout, the attacking team trying to recuperate.
Marcel, but I don't hear what you are holding, pushing. Holding and pushing. A blue free throw. Huh? Yeah, a blue
So-
free throw.
Britain will have a
I don't
chance
hear them.
with 2.5 minutes left to score a second goal
White
and send
timeout.
us into overtime.
Yep.
And it didn't look like a likely
Trying to pull the goalie up, trying
result,
to get a position
but now
behind
it
the
is
goalie.
possible.
It was not his goal. 2 minutes or something left.
Opportunistic goal by Lewis. These teams are, do they have a full roster? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8.
Yes, Britain with a full roster. They can even exchange. They have
They have
13 players here. Canada having 15 players but only 4 defenders, according to our sheets.
So at this point in the game, there's a difficulty for coaches. You bring in a new player with energy, but they might not be in the game mentally.
It depends on the playing capabilities of the player. Usually some players are really good if they come in late into the game being fresh to pick up some pace and drive the team forward, but other players really struggling to get into the game mentally, getting used to the pace. Usually it takes a couple of minutes to get used to the pace, but we'll see what's happening here now. Great Britain trying to move forward. Canada, though, trying to block their way as best as they can.
Not surprisingly, they give it. Is the ball with Escobar? He's a safe player. He's tall. He can hold it away.
But a game like this can depend on the punch of a single player, but usually you want your entire team to play together, set up a good game plan here. Collingwood now trying to get underneath the defender. Good positioning here by him, setting up a little bit of a screen. Now he's got to move out. Canadian forward here trying to go for the ball.
Of course, they need a team effort. Absolutely, they must
Yeah.
come in with 2 or 3 players in order to have a chance to.
Oh, a good pass
Oh,
here.
they
Now
got it.
can he move in? Well positioned here, underneath the goalkeeper.
And a good
But
pass
the
back.
ball
Oh.
tossed underneath, but can't hold on to it. And here the recovery for Canada, Matteo Naranjo. Narajo, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. I'm sorry, Matteo.
It's going to be.
There's the penalty call here against Canada.
Shoulder in the basket.
Shoulder in the basket. You could see the first attempt here by the British forward.
So they let it continue a little bit to see if they would score
Yeah, it
on
was
their
an-
own. It was advantage.
Yeah, it was an advantage situation for Britain. Even though the goal, I didn't see the referee signaling it by moving up his hand. Usually if a referee sees an advantage situation, it has to raise his hand or somehow signal the game is playing forward. And now we'll see if Canada is able to defend here.
So a dramatic.
Dramatic turn of events.
Yeah.
Mark Price, the captain here, taking the penalty for Britain.
Goalie.
Rodolfo Gonzalez here on the defense for the Canadians.
Price. He's going to swim from the top. He's in no rush.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and the goalkeeper also quite heavy, but Mark Price here might be on advantage by having a lot of weight. Just important that the goalkeeper does not get... Oh, well done here by Mark Price. And there's the equalization for Britain.
Gets set for overtime.
Yes.
Blue team score by
We have 1 minute left into the game here. Great Britain against Canada. Now we're set for overtime in this game. 2-2, Britain versus Canada.
We could feel this here in the booth. We got to run.
Yep.
1:06 left. There's still time to score a goal, but basically it'll only be one or two attacks maximum. Should Canada try hard to score here, or just wait out the minute?
Of course, Canada should seize the minute here to keep the ball, keep and hold on to the ball, but try to score as well. They have 1 minute. They are in possession of the ball. They have to move forward. Maybe to get a good opportunity here to go for it. But now the ball taken away by Great Britain, and Britain here holding on, but nobody moving forward so far, being in position to receive a pace.
Time enough for one attack, but not if they scrum on the surface. But Canada takes it back.
Canada now being on it once again. 31 seconds to go. Oh, the ball not being placed properly. Recovery for Canada by Juan David Royas. Now Britain trying to move for the ball. Both teams not really able to hold on to the ball properly. Now pass forward. Only goalkeeper on the goal. It's a big chance for Canada. 11 seconds to go. Can he pass the ball to the side? Canada moving in. But the ball not able to place the ball in the basket here. Covered by the goalkeeper. Now the game is over, and it's overtime. And sudden death here for Canada versus Great Britain.
So there's a 5-minute break here before they start playing. 15 extra minutes, and it's in German they call the golden goal. Sudden death.
Angus Lemon, the price is right. Yeah, the price was right here, quite certainly. Ooh. Getting a bit of a thriller here. Canada versus Great Britain. Both trying to make the Queen proud here at this World Championship.
We can hear the chant.
Queen still both head of both countries. You know that? Canada also having no...
it's not a republic, no.
But the Queen is still the official, the official representative of the country. But doesn't have any active political rights.
Yeah, of course. But theoretically, that's also more or less true in Great Britain as well.
That is most certainly true.
Monarchies.
Yeah. The Queen having the informal right to actually set off the parliament, but she doesn't.
When there's a swearing in, when the Prime Minister comes to present themselves, I think that she shakes their hand or whatever.
All right now,
So you didn't expect this to be such an exciting match, but it has turned out to be one.
Britain held on very well against the Slovakians as well, going for the 3-2 lead in the end. I think those teams very much on an equal playing ground here from what we've seen so far. So not that much of a surprise here. Britain holding on, being the better team in the second half. Canada really struggling to get out of their own half. So it will be interesting to see if there's going to be a regular score here during the 15 minutes of overtime.
Are there any fans from Gotland watching, following McVeigh?
Okay.
Anthony McVeigh, Sunflower Media Productions. So where is Anthony McVeigh? In Britain or in Sweden?
Cameron is super quiet. Maybe his microphone isn't close enough to his mouth. No, should be fine. It's we
What's this one?
nope, it's the second one. Sadly we have two microphones, one being a bit more silent. You have to speak up if you're on mic 2.
How does this sound now? Louder?
I'm hearing loud and clear, Deborah, no problem
But
there.
it's the out there.
Sadly, we cannot see how long the break is still going, and I think the referee is signaling 2 minutes here.
Anybody can win this game now.
Yeah, potentially.
And if it goes to shootout, Gonzalez is a good goalie.
I think if it goes to shootouts, we might see a lot of penalties because on the lower level bracket teams, quite often the goalkeeper's not able to stay on the bottom for 45 seconds. Especially having some older players on the squad. They might do it once, but they may not be able to do it twice. And even if they are able to stay underwater for the amount of time, very hard for them to defend actually here against the attackers and the forwards. So I think a penalty shootout might take longer than we expected to take, but the time schedule now shifted a bit, so we have a little bit more time because a lot of those final games are expected to go to overtime. Usually having equal teams in the water here rather than throughout the placement games and the group stages where a lot of teams being rather unequal.
So penalty shootout, the players must be decided in advance. They reported to the referee.
Yes, a bit controversial here on this part because there's no official rule that you have to announce the attackers prior to the penalty. The official ruling stating that the defender has to move on into the pool first, and then the team on the offense is allowed to choose an attacker. So we'll see how this rule will be executed here. The 3-player rule instated here at this tournament to speed up the process. But if a rule like this is deciding a game at some point, we might see a protest by some organization that is suffering, especially if a team is having a couple of key players who are on a very, very high level and you have to stick to a schedule that doesn't suit you very much against certain goalkeepers, or the other way around, if certain goalkeepers on the pool and you have to stick to an attacker that is very much unsuited by size or strength to compete. So that's a bit of a tricky thing here at the Underwater Rugby World Championship. We'll see about the execution of this, but now we have overtime and there's 50 minutes to play. Sudden death, the first goal, golden goal rule.
We can't predict that this will go to penalty shootout. That's what happens if it doesn't get
Canada
resolved.
now being more aggressive, being at the ball first in this halftime. Canada having serious trouble moving the ball forward. There's usually only one player, even less underneath the water at the surface here. Canada moving for the British basket immediately, now being placed underneath the basket. Number 42, Juan David Royas. Ball picked up though by the British defender, and now they try to move it away. A call by the referee.
What could it be here?
Blue free throw.
Free throw.
In favor of Britain.
In favor of Britain here, yes.
Attack in the head.
It's an attack on the head. Called by the referee. Alistair Hickey trying to move the ball for Britain now on the water with 4 players during this free throw, and they're on the move a little bit too slow. They need to move forward onto the basket a little bit faster, have the players in position about 1.5 to 2 seconds earlier so the chain doesn't interrupt and you can pass the ball before being attacked. Now a good pass into the corner, but immediately being attacked by 2 players here by Canada. Now the ball moving for the Canadians, and Canada trying to move away from their own basket. Here number 7, Juan Pablo Carmona, trying to move the ball forward but being locked up immediately by the British. Good defense here from number 13, Ashley Melanson. Esbit.
Got the pass down.
Pass downwards to number 3, Camilo Contreras, trying to move the ball forward, but pass on his belly, and now we have Cesar Flores, the captain, trying to move towards the great British basket. Not to be.
It'll be very interesting to see what they do with their opportunities, whether they will lose the ball quickly or manage to get over to the other side.
Yeah, Canada trying to hold on to the ball, but British forechecking here quite a bit better than the Canadians throughout the second half of the game.
Nobody but Harvey's beneath the scrum, but at a distance.
Harvey trying to move forward.
Long pass, got it. Britain to the other side now, Collingwood. And the pass goes down to...
Now Britain
Now
being
they've got
here
3
on the
players.
hunt.
55, that's
Good
Sainsbury.
positioning here by the Canadians, though, being in between the player and the basket. Britain not able to move on to Canada.
Careless pass, but got
Ball being recovered for Britain. Yes, Britain's fighting, even though they are the underdogs in this game. Crown probably always in now going for the counter-attack. You can see Canada trying to move forward, Britain holding on well so far, but now, that would have been a good opportunity for Canada. Now a good opportunity for Canada, moving in onto the goalkeeper. Can he place the ball into the goal? There's the score!
It's over.
Canada with the golden goal against Great Britain.
Sudden death overtime.
Martello Levy here coming in from the back. The defender embrace plays for Great Britain, but the goalkeeper being not perfectly in position. And now Canada with the win here. Britain with a good fight throughout the second halftime, equalizing here against the Canadian squad, putting up an incredible fight. But Britain.
So that's 13th place secure for...
That's the 13th place secured for Canada. They came here trying to be 7th or 8th, but the other teams on the brackets quite strong here.
White team score by player number 97.
Well
Big
done
goal
by
there by
both teams.
Levy.
An equal game. Canada getting ahead in the first half, but then throughout the second half, Canada with the golden goal. Now the placement's over for the two teams, and Great Britain throughout their first World Championship here, finishing 14th, so not last place for Britain.
So perhaps we should get an interview.
Yep, do it,
Uh,
please, Deborah.
What do you think? Cesar Flores or...
suppose you want me facing the camera.
All right, I'm here with Levi Metelo, who scored the goal in sudden death. How did that feel?
I have no idea. There was a ball, there was a basket, there were hands. I don't remember coming to the surface, but yeah, it feels good. Catching my breath.
You guys had a lead for quite a long time in the game, and then suddenly they got on the scoreboard. And then again.
It changes just like that. We were just trying to play a hard defense. I think for the first goal, they got through a not perfect switch on the defense, and they got in and they scored really quickly. And we thought we could still hold them back, but then the penalty came along, and that was tough to swallow. But knowing that we got an extra period, we were pretty confident that if we just played smart and we played hard, we could find a way to take it out at the end.
And get through. So now it's over for you. This is the last match of the competition.
It's for us. This is a beginning. It's the first time our women are here at the World Championships. Our men, second time we're playing. Yeah, amazing support. We got to grow this sport. We got to keep going. We got to use this momentum, and keep coming. Canada, you got to play the sport. It's fantastic, and yeah, build it. Keep going. It's a beginning for us. It's been such an awesome event. The organizers here have let the developing teams play, which is phenomenal. It's been so helpful. The strong teams have been patient, playing with us and showing us how the game can be played, and we're really appreciative of that. And wow, it's an awesome sport at its finest. I love it.
Are you here just by yourself, or your family back home watching?
I'm here with my wife and my dad and my stepmom, and my son is in Italy watching, and hopefully lots of friends and family back in Canada watching. Lots of support. Awesome. Thank you all.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.